I think Guardiola's shown himself at Bayern to be far more adaptable than perhaps we thought he was when he was at Barcelona. Still, there are certain fundamentals to how he sees football. Players have to be technically competent, which is a problem for certain players at City at the minute. They have to be tactically very intelligent, they have to be able to press, and they have to be able to press in a coherent way, that they're not leaving gaps, so that it's not sort of headless chicken just charging at the ball. An awareness that positions are not restrictive. You know, the right back doesn't have to stay in a certain zone of the pitch. You constantly got to be reassessing where you should be standing on the pitch, where you should be moving on the pitch. And that requires a mindset which I think is pretty natural if you grow up at Barcelona in La Masia. I think it's not necessarily natural to players brought up in England. His football is exhausting physically and mentally. He's a very demanding coach. I mean, maybe even include emotionally in that list, that he wears people out. Now you can do that when you have a winter break, you can do that when you have only one cup competition, which you don't necessarily take that seriously. You can do that when you have certain league games where you can turn it with a B team and still win 3-0. You don't have that in the Premier League, you don't have any of those things. The most interesting thing that he's done at Bayern is there's been games when he's played against teams he pressed very well against, and particularly Dortmund, where they play a long ball. And you sort of think that's completely anathema to the Barcelona way of doing things. But I think he will come up in the Premier League against teams who are good at pressing, come against Jurgen Klopp again. He'll come against Tottenham, who press exceptionally well. So he might have to turn to that long ball tactic again. I think more generally, he just can't demand his team presses in quite the same way as he demands now. I think you just can't do that for 38 league games plus. You look at that squad and there's a lot of players you think, are they really Guardiola players? I mean, Joe Hart, for instance, although he's obviously a very good goalkeeper, is he good enough with his feet to play in a Guardiola style? Yeah, he's not Manuel Neuer, he's not Victor Valdez, and that perhaps explains why there's been interest in Ter Stegen. He is good with his feet. And you look at other players in the squad and the two centre-backs, Ivica Otamendi and Mangala, neither of them are good on the ball. Guardiola has usually played a defensive midfielder at centre-back. So he converted Mascherano, he's played Javi Martinez there at Bayern. Can Fernandinho do that? I think we'll see him try to promote more youth players than perhaps Pellegrini or Mancini did. And that's partly because they're now sort of coming to maturity in a way that perhaps they weren't certainly under Mancini. I mean, it's almost a practical issue that Guardiola leaves young players with good ideas and they carry that on. If he brings through a player at 18 or 19, so when he leaves, they're 22, 23, well, that player can be the future of that club for another decade.
Everybody knows Jose Mourinho. He remains box office for all his toils at Chelsea.